People, what's up? Hey,
Hi.
welcome. You know what time it is. You know we're doing it. This is
I'm gonna
Stay
say
Mentally
it's
Dope.
time for the twerk later. Okay.
It's a jump for something. We're gonna do something. This is Stay Mentally Dope. We talk about everything at the intersection of mental health and Black culture. Whoo, man, we gonna talk about Biker Boys. Do y'all remember this movie? I need y'all to remember this movie. I didn't remember this movie because I've never seen it.
And I'm just glad to
So
say that if you have not, I'm like, you can follow along with us, but you can also go watch the movie and then join the discussion.
please, and it's on YouTube. Feel free. Go watch the movie. But man, we're gonna talk about Biker Boys, and of course, we're two Black therapists, and we're going to talk about the intersection of fatherhood, masculinity, identity, self worth, and then how it kind of shows up in that movie and how it shows up in our lives.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're watching us today, it's Father's Day weekend, so what perfect time for us to do this movie.
And do with that what you need. So hopefully this levels up your mental health in some way. But quick overview of the movie. Go ahead and bless us. What's the quick
Oh
overview
my
if you haven't
gosh.
seen it?
First of all, guys, like movie aside, this cast is like an all-star cast, stellar.
They
Chef's
got
kiss.
everybody. Everybody.
Yes, literally, like everybody's in this movie. But the movie is like mine are always like not like really long story short, so like short story longs. But we have Derek Luke's character who wants to be a well-known biker. He wants to be respected. He wants to be the top dog. But this seems to come out of a place of him feeling like that his father was not. That the father that he has known his entire life followed behind what he believed followed behind who was the top biker of the city. So his like mission becomes to become the top biker and to kind
Yeah.
of sort of prove to him, I'm not like my father. I'm not going to follow you around. I'm going to be the top
Yeah.
person in this area. And then we see like all the areas of like how that looks and how that unfolds and the secrets that pop out, relationships that are had. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Some people say it's like Fast and Furious before Fast and Furious like found itself and its niche. I don't know, but it's got like an action thing. It's got a little romance thing. It's got a little brotherhood, sisterhood, family situation. But man, so in this, I have a question because from watching the movie, it just made me think, like, how do fathers influence their sons' like identity and like who they are and how they see themselves?
Yeah, I feel like that we've talked about this in some of our other videos as well too. That parents in general don't always realize how much of an influence that they have over their kids, and we see it in so many situations. If your child loves and respects, or even fears you, sometimes they follow along behind a lot of the things that you say to do. Like a lot of kids don't realize that if I'm super passionate
Mhm.
about football and my kid wants to play soccer, but they see how happy I get whenever I'm like, like whenever I'm at the football field, I might go play football because that's actually what you're engaged in. Like you want to coach
Yep.
the football team, you want to come to all the games. So like even if I'm not saying choose this, my actions may be
You
saying
are saying
choose
choose
this.
this.
Um or like my behaviors are like what do I get excited about like I'm watching on TV. So I'm gonna come want to watch this on TV with you too. I may
Hmm.
actually want to watch Disney Channel, but you get happy about this. So I'm gonna come sit down and watch this with you. I think it's like all of those things that could go into shaping, not also meant we talk about just like this like other like things about like beliefs and values and all those
Hmm.
things too that get passed down.
Yeah. So it's like whatever your father or your parent figure prioritizes, that is automatically going to be like a priority to you, or at least you're going to have some information about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because, like we talk about a lot, you can see your parents grow up and do one thing and then spend the rest of your life being like, I'm not going to be that way. I'm not going to do this. I don't want it to look like that. And at the same time, you might be deprioritizing something, but you're still like centering that
No,
experience,
100%.
right? So whoever they are and whoever they were is still showing up in your life, even if you're actively trying to guard against it.
Yeah.
And so I guess like you said, the answer is it's huge, right? Like it's
Hmm.
kind of our process that like the people that we grow up around and raise us, we get things from.
Yeah, but
And
I
we
think that
don't have a choice in the matter, really.
you brought up a good point. So what happens in this movie, like once again, spoiler alert, what happens in this movie is that we
If you
find out,
haven't seen this movie, shot in what, 2003? Sorry.
yeah, but what happens in the movie is that we find him, like, even though you can tell that he loved his father, you can tell that he did not respect his father's behaviors based on what he thought of his father. So he said, "My father followed you around. My father did whatever you said for him to do." So he spends his adulthood, or his beginning of his adulthood, because what is he, like 18 years old? But like he
Yeah.
spends like his early life in this moment saying, "I'm not gonna be my father. My father was a follow boy or whatever, and I'm going to be the leader."
Hmm.
Until he finds out, like towards the end, well, first he finds out that that wasn't his father, but then he finds out that the man tells him, "Actually, I followed your father. I may have been the face, but whatever he told me to do, I did. So you've been fighting this hard to not be this man who actually was a leader that you didn't realize."
Let's let's unpack a little bit too, because okay, if you missed the situation, this is a plot point in the movie. Again, spoiler alert, whatever. He grows up thinking his father is his father. He finds out while he's wilding that his father is not actually his father. His father is like, it's not just is my father is the man that I've known my whole life. I just didn't know was my father. It's the man that I thought was better than my father, or had more
And I
power and
resented him for
yes,
that.
more significance than the person I thought who was my father. And now to find out, I didn't even know who my father was, or I didn't take the time to find out more information. I just saw and made my own opinions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he was saying is like, you don't even know your father's role here, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't really know him as a man. Maybe you know what you saw, or you know, maybe like at that end of his life. Because again, we only get to see our parents for the time
Mm-hmm.
that we're here, not their whole lives. And so we don't really get to see him struggle with that. But I think that's like a real thing for people growing up and learning who your parents are before you, or learning who they have always been, and maybe in ways that you didn't know that's who they've been.
Yeah. And the deeper part of that is like kind of like what you were saying, which I feel like that we have like multiple people have did. I know that I've did that, that level of either resentment or frustration or whatever it is that you have towards your parents when you don't understand something. I've been there where I held a lot of feelings of like, oh, I can't believe that she did this or he did this,
Mm-hmm.
and like I would never be that way. And then like, you get a little older and you're like, oh, I didn't see that full picture.
Mm-hmm. And you can't, right? Like that is the nature of childhood and parenthood, that like you don't understand a whole bunch of stuff. You don't understand why people are making the decisions they're making. There is always like a level of like
Mm-hmm.
disconnectedness many times on purpose, because adult things are not children things. But then it's hard to process many times of just like, why did you make that decision? I don't know if that was the best for me.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have got it. And sometimes you might still be like, no, and I still feel the way that I feel. But sometimes there are those moments where it's like, oh, I've been fighting this for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like not what I was fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
This is not the purpose. And so he's like trying to build up who he is and who he's trying to be from what he thinks his father is, or maybe against what he thinks his father is, just to find out like he was wrong about all of it.
Yeah, but then also we have like this extra dynamic of, so he feels like that his father had been following around this person, and he resented this person because he thought that this person was acting like he was all high and mighty and that
Hmm.
he shouldn't have been. So
Or maybe even preventing his father from doing something that he wanted to.
yes.
Like that's the narrative in his mind. There's no real evidence of that, but he's saying like, what if my father wanted to be the president and wanted to run stuff? Maybe he
Yeah.
prevented that.
Yeah. So he actually resented the president.
Hmm.
But the hard thing is that when he found out that the president was his actual biological father, he only resented him more. There was no moment of him being like, oh, like clarity of like, this is my dad. Like, no, his hatred grew of like, what?
Hmm.
Now I really hate you.
Yeah. Which I think they thought that was going to solve the problem. Like, hey, tell him this information about the secret that we've been hiding for 18 years, and then that'll fix it. But like, how could it fix it? So like peep this. If you in your family, we talk about this a lot in black families, there's always some kind of secret. There's always some kind of shame. Have you ever been in a situation where something is revealed in a time and you didn't realize that's what it was and then it changed something about you or changed something about like the relationship with somebody in your family? Because that's also what happened. So his mom, after he's whiling and struggling with the death of his dad and identity, she's like, hey, that's your kid, you need to get him together. But is not thinking there's going to be consequences of that decision that you told him. I don't even know how long it was after his father had died.
Yeah. But not only
That
that,
wasn't his father.
you're telling this guy this, Lawrence Fishburne's
That's
character.
true too. You told him first before you even told your own son. That's rough.
And yes. She tells him as if like he was like supposed to know. And that's so many questions that I had Benny's answers over there, but we'll get to that in a second.
I mean,
But
like at a party, like, hey, let me tell you something. This is a big deal.
and they got mad at him, like, well, you know how we used to do, and you know like who I was with. And what?
And no, she was really like, you're treating him like this. He didn't know. What do you mean?
But then on top of that, she also said it, in which I get it. Sometimes we say things thinking that other people are the problem. Like she's going off on him. Ma'am, you didn't tell me, nor did you tell your son. Now I'm pissed off at you, and your son's pissed off at you. But thank you for yelling at me like I was the problem. So I think it's like that when you're saying that sometimes a secret is revealed and it changes the trajectory of even the person who revealed the secret.
Mhm.
Like you out there throwing bombs, like everybody should be like, oh yeah, well boom, now everybody knows. No, now I'm staring at you sideways because what?
Yes, but also people don't they forget that there are consequences and so they're frustrated with the consequences of the decision that they made. She's mad because she's trying to prevent him from wilding and because she does this, he starts to wild out even more. And she's frustrated with that. No, you have to go. No, you have to leave. You're making these decisions, but you didn't think about the fact that he was going to be upset about that. You're desperate, right? It was selfishly motivated. But all this also this stuff happens in families all the time, right?
Mhm.
Of just like the timing of news. That's a whole thing. How much time have you spent in your sessions with people just being like, it's not the news, it was the timing? Why would you say that now? Why would you say that here? Why would you say that this way? And how that changes how people hold the information.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows when somebody's going to pass, but you do rob them of the opportunity to work that out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he never got a chance to say to his father, you made this decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did. He made a decision. He knew that wasn't his child.
I mean, but that's the hard part too, because apparently they never discussed it.
I know, but math.
Yeah, but y'all just
If they got
never-
together and you had the baby, like 3-4 months later, like something happened. You know the math ain't solid.
The way that she was making it sound, which y'all, this is going to be my question that needed answers. The way that she was making it sound like literally she was sleeping with one best friend and then immediately started sleeping with the next best friend, but she was already pregnant when she started sleeping with the next best friend. So, and it made it almost seem like it was like not even like
close, but she did say like it was obvious the number of months.
Yes,
it wasn't just like the baby came early. It's 8 months. It was like, nah, a normal gestation time does not make sense.
But that
so again,
to me,
I think
it's
he
also
would
the
have
problem.
known.
But this is the problem too. We're talking about secrets that are never discussed. So,
oh yeah.
So me and my husband are very aware that I was already pregnant, and we're just never going to discuss it.
That's one layer. Me and my husband were very aware that before I got with him, I was sleeping with his best friend / president. Okay, there's that. Don't know if they ever discussed that, but here we are. We don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
And then on top of the layers,
but they're still best friends.
Everybody's still friends.
And they remain best friends.
Good for y'all. But I'm just saying, it's a conversation and there needs to be some conversation. So put that, and then put on top of that, we got a baby, and we know y'all was doing something before, and we know I was doing something before, but I don't know. Let's just not talk about it. Let's just keep moving forward.
Yes, which goes into something that we continue to say, the mental impact of what happens when we just never have conversations, especially when they're detrimental conversations like this.
Yeah.
That blew up literally 18 years later after someone died.
I mean, explosion, not just blew up, like exploded all over the place. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know what to do with this fallout. Oh my gosh, it's so scary. But like, the issue is, why haven't we been talking about this? Why couldn't anybody Just do something.
I think it was the uncomfortableness of the situation. You have a lot of people who don't want to deal with the potential consequences, whether it's mom not wanting to deal with her actions. Because I mean, we just said that. How do we know that she wasn't embarrassed to be like, yeah, I messed with one best friend and the next best friend back to back, and I got pregnant by one and like I married the other. Maybe she was embarrassed. I have no idea. Maybe his stepdad didn't want to admit that that it wasn't really his
His
child.
biological dad.
No,
No.
no.
Oh.
The man who raised him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I was
maybe.
like, wait, which dad? We gotta
Sorry.
get
Yes,
deal.
the man who raised him. Maybe he didn't want to acknowledge it. I get that too. That there are some men who were like, "That's my child. I don't care what nobody says," and like no, they
Or
don't
it
want to
doesn't
acknowledge
matter.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just doesn't matter.
So I think it's that. But we are talking about the impact that had on the character kid, with that it had on him, but also the impact that has on the person who is in the situation and what that looks like. So bringing that back of
But
like
the consequences fall on top
yeah,
of, which is really how it happens, right? The generation before doesn't do something or does do something, and then because they didn't handle it and they didn't make it happen, like it falls on the shoulders of the younger person who like didn't ask for all those problems.
yeah. Or comes to find out, like, 18 years later, of like, oh, this is not my family.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So we see this thing though. We see this thing though of where the father.
Devin? What's up, Devin? Sound like we the Atlanta housewives trying to figure out Phaedra's pregnancy dates. I'm done.
Literally, like, because listen, in my mind, I was like, how many months was it? Like, was you showing? Was you not showing? Like,
we need details.
Yeah, was we lying and saying I ate a little too much steak? I don't understand. Like, what was like? Yeah, I don't understand.
Part of it. And when they finally had the conversation, he said, "Were you ever going to tell me?" And she was like, "I don't know."
Which, I mean, to me, it honestly truthfully sounds.
I appreciate
like
the honesty.
Yeah, that if he had never been wilding out like this and things happened, then no, he probably would have never known. Which to me is harmful on a whole different level. Sometimes, sometimes to me, that's just my own personal opinion. Because I mean, I respect people's decisions, but there is also the harm. I've had so many clients sit in my office who found out later on in life that their family was not who they thought that they were, or like my dad wasn't who I thought it was. I was like, I could have been dating a cousin. I could have been dating like an uncle. All of these things that could potentially be harmful because there's this cross thing that we're not discussing. Yes. And also harmful because with all of my clients that I've dealt with, somebody always knew. Which is also a harmful thing too. I would rather hear this from the people who claim to love me, from my parents, from the people who are supposed to be around me, than hearing this from a drunk uncle at a thing, or little kids at school who was like, "That ain't your daddy." Like that's not how I want to hear this.
That's a whole nother layer to it too, right? Learning something late in life is already another layer of like this being hard, because it's that thing of like, you kept a secret from me. Everybody knows about this from me because I know y'all have come from families where everybody in the family knows except Little Peanut. And so we can't tell Little Peanut. And then another layer is it's like betrayal of like, you betrayed me in a way that you told other people and you thought that was more important than telling me.
Yeah.
Right? There's layers to that. And then an additional layer here is like, now those people are gone and I can't even do anything about it. I can't grieve about it with them. I can't talk to them and ask them questions about, why did you do this? What was the point of this?
Yeah.
None of that.
No, 100%. Which like makes it difficult. Like and I think that this is something that I hold on to. I think a lot of times people do these things to protect. They say that they're protecting the person, but I think a lot of times that they're protecting themselves. The same way that I would say about this mother. I don't know fully what's going on. I mean, she was a character, but I feel like that she says that she was protecting her son, but I think that she was most likely protecting her.
All of that. And I know like in Black families, we have certain rules, and a lot of the rules are like, we just don't talk about hard stuff. We don't talk about stuff that's too personal. I have, like in my own family, I have asked my parents stuff about, why did so-and-so do that? Why did grandma do that? And she would say, they just didn't like to talk about it. We just didn't bring it up. Or we just didn't do it because that's the rules in our household, not for any other reason except, nah.
Or let me do you one better. Asking the question and then being hit with the victim mentality. So if I ask you, hey, why didn't nobody ever tell me this? You don't know what I went through. You know how hard it was for me for me during this time.
Wait a
Oh,
minute. I'm just asking a question because I need to know. But yes, and then we get the defensiveness and all that stuff and the shame. And like a question that I had or that we have been talking about is what does character building look like in our
yeah.
community?
I feel like that his I mean, I would still call him his father, whether biological or not. But I feel like that what his father was trying to do was to teach him respect. He's teaching him like I felt that he was teaching him the.
Which father?
I said his father, like not biological.
I know, but
So,
okay. I
sorry.
just
Yes. Um,
Will or what's his name?
Slick Will.
Or Smoke. Yeah, Will or Smoke.
Yes. So Will's character, I like that Will was trying to teach him. I mean, I get it, and especially with Vanessa Bell Calloway. Come on now, but especially like that as a mother, would you have rather had Slick Will as your father or Smoke as your child's father? I would have chose Will too. He was more
Oh,
responsible.
like from the
He was
parent
more stable.
perspective. I
Yeah.
was like,
So
from the child, I would be like, hey, Smoke. But again, that's different.
yeah, but I feel like that for Will, he was trying to teach his child like respect and like honor. Like I think like that was his character villain, but he didn't realize how that was being reflected to his child.
And maybe, like you're saying, there's just lack of conversations about things. Black parents, especially, ooh, come on now, are ones that would be like, just watch me, just watch me, and they don't share the why behind why they do stuff, right? Because I'm assuming a lot, but there's a lot of people, or I'm going to talk about my family, that things that I didn't find out about my family until they were gone and they were dead, and people are like, did you know so and so used to do this? Did you know they always woke up at this time and made sure everybody was doing this? Did you know they, like, I'm talking about my grandmother, she always made sure everybody in community was fed, everybody was doing this, everybody's doing that. But there wasn't a time where she explicitly said, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This
Yeah.
is why this is important to me. And so we do a job, I'm going to say a good job. We can do a good job of modeling, but I think that we miss a piece when we're not talking about it. Why? Why is this
Yeah.
important? Why
Yeah.
are we doing this? Why do I put my priorities here? Why do I show up and go to church the way I do? Why do I all of these things? And people, well, children specifically, get their own narrative about why people do what they do.
Mhm.
And because they're children, a lot of times it's distorted,
Yeah.
right?
I like that what you're also saying is twofold too about explaining the why, but also recognizing what is what is interesting to the child at the time. Because like you said, as
Well, paying attention to like their developmental level and stuff.
yeah, because like you said, if I was a teenage boy, which parent would I rather have, Will or Smoke?
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing Smoke because I
Vroom
mean,
vroom.
yeah,
He's
he got
doing it.
girls everywhere. He got like he's out partying all the
Fast
time.
money, whatever.
Yeah, so I think that sometimes too, also being aware of that. I'm trying to teach you how to be responsible, and he's like, I'm a 16-year-old boy. I don't care. I don't care. I'm being responsible.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I think is cool.
Which just like in that very first scene when his daddy died, he was out here doing the tricks and doing the stuff trying to stop people. And dad said, he's like, I should have done this, I should have done that. And dad said that would have been more for you to get hurt, right? Like he was more cautious. And how much of that would have changed if he would have been like, I'm one of the people that like has a consistent job, and I'm one of the reasons why this organization can run because they can fix their bikes and they can do all of this. Like we're missing the connection.
Yeah, but he didn't want that. He didn't
I
want
want
that.
that because it's flashy, but it's also what's the integrity in being like I do this because I love it. I don't do this because
Mhm.
right, like I like to be these people, and I'm just hoping and praying that they're gonna make me president one day, right? Like
I
that's
mean, I
not why
get
we do
it. I mean, I
things.
get it, but that's why I said I think that too. Like I can, I know for myself, like not even just like as a teenager, but even as like a young adult, being told by people about like saving money and stocks and stuff like that, and I'm like, what kind of car should you drive? She went on vacation the
Hmm.
same time soon. She ain't went nowhere. I'm not sure I'm gonna listen to her because that's not what I aspired to at the age of 25.
I agree.
I wanted to be on somebody's island, like, and your life is not reflecting what it is that I
Hmm.
wanted.
Absolutely, but we know kids and we know teenagers, right? You build the foundation and then they go on their little path
And then
and
they
then they
figure it
can
out.
figure it
Yeah.
out. Like they can have context to come back to of just like, hey, my mama said that, but it didn't make no sense to me when she said that until I went out there and I did the thing and then I was like, dang, I should have
But I feel
listened.
like that there was an aspect to that because he did learn how to fix bikes from Will, and
Hmm.
he continued he could like continue that on.
Yeah, but the issue is he didn't see that as valuable and he didn't see like that kind of stuff as identity. I think that's the issue.
But this also comes back to a good point too. How do we identify, or how does the question of masculinity get passed down from generation to generation. Because I feel like that's a thing too, that Will was trying to teach him that to be a man, you take care of your kids, you take care of your household, you take care of the people around you. But there may have been like also these other aspects and these outside ideas of masculinity being you get as many girls as you can get, and like you do, like, you know, you have the most money, like being able to realize that how we view masculinity is different in different cultures, is different in different households, and then that can get passed down from person to person.
It does get passed down. Yeah. Was there a question there? I just identified with all of that. I was like, yes.
We'll talk about, like, you know,
absolutely.
how does that happen? But I think that's, I mean, just like the layer of that it just like continues to get passed down and passed down.
I mean, I think it's like we learn everything else. We watch it, we see it, and remembering that like we learn more from watching people than from them telling us stuff many times, because with many parents, or I'm just gonna say, in my family, it is do as I say, not as I do necessarily.
Yeah, 100%.
But the kids are like, I'm gonna respond to what you did, because what you say is, don't interrupt. I'm talking to someone. If you want to interrupt, you need to say, excuse me, ma'am. But when you come in and kids like, hey, mama, and you be like, oh, stop. Okay, you need to say, don't interrupt. But what do you want? Right? What does it matter that you didn't show up the way that I asked you to show up? Because what I responded to was what you did. And so I know if you act this way, I'm going to do this. It don't matter what she say.
No, 100%.
No matter what she does.
Yeah, 100%.
And so whatever we see, I think, becomes relevant and kind of candid.
Yes, 100% of what we just said. Masculinity is passed down by what we see. And yeah, I think it's that. I think it's the idea too of even I think that sometimes, and what I've seen and what I hate sometimes too, is when you have people who try to like fight against it, but it's still there. Like, you know, you'll see like, you know, men out who are like, it's okay to cry. And then they be over there and they don't do it. Like, you know, struggling to cry because they like, I don't want to be seen as weak, or I don't want to have all these issues because it was passed down that like, that's a weakness. You don't do that. You have to like look strong or do these things. And I think it's that even like you said, even when I say these things, or even like, you know, when we try hard to fight against them, sometimes it's still like ingrained in there.
Yeah. But maybe let me say it a different way, that learning is several fold, right? When you go to school and you learn something, it's not just the teacher saying, do this, do that. It's also experiential. They'll show it to you. They'll model it. They'll have you try it on and see if it works for you. They'll have you go out into the world and practice and come back and talk about it. And I think that's what we're saying too, that it's not going to matter, speaking for me in my situation, if you're saying you need to rest, you need to sit down, you need to take some time off, but you sit there and you don't rest and you don't sit down and you don't ever take no time off. You just spend so much time telling me to do it, the people in my family. And then I'm like, well, I don't know how to do this. You didn't show me how. You told me. You told me it was a good thing. So now I know. But that doesn't mean I know how to implement it in my life, because you didn't take vacation. So I don't. How am I supposed to do that? I don't know how to make that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who did it. So why would I do it?
Yeah. Oh, and like you said, when the words and actions don't match up. So you're saying this, but then it doesn't match. Or there's even like the tenfold of saying you should rest, you should take a break. But then when I do, it's like, why you laying down? You real lazy today, huh?
Come on,
we ain't getting up and doing nothing.
Come on, black parents. It's 11 a.m. So what you doing?
You still in the bed?
I don't understand.
Yeah,
money got to be made.
Yeah, the whole day done passed you by. It's like, okay,
I didn't. And they love to be like, I didn't get it and did this and this and this. By the time you woke up and opened your eyes, like, I just wanted to sleep in, dog. It's not a whole thing, but there's layers to this. And so if you're taking away some stuff, it's like talk. Use your words to link up with what's going on, because kids need you to make connections. And when I say kids, I mean the people you birth, and they don't have to be children to need that connection. And then also match it up, right? Have some integrity.
I think that also comes in, like, one of the things that we say a lot too is to work on your own stuff.
Always.
We don't realize, like, and I was literally just having this conversation. I did a presentation recently, and there was a judge in the audience, and she was saying that she worked in family court for years, and she didn't realize for a long time how much these situations were affecting the kids. And she was like, that the parents would always say that they weren't having these fights in front of the kids, but their actions and their mannerisms would show up and they would affect the kids, and the kids would like, say things in chambers, or say things like,
Mm-hmm.
be confused about like what they want to do. And I said that all the time, that a lot of parents think, oh, I'm not directly saying anything to my kids, so therefore it shouldn't be a thing. And like, I'd even been told that. I never told you that, but your
But I was,
actions.
but I was there first of all.
Yeah, your actions. I never said for you to hate some people, but whenever we were around them, you rolled your eyes, you had an
Hmm.
attitude.
I heard you cussing out on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
phone.
you're calling people and you're saying negative things. I'm like, yeah, you didn't say that. Or, well, I never cried around you, but your whole demeanor would change. You really thought that I didn't realize that you were upset, but
But
your
you
whole
took a
but your
2 hour
whole
shower.
yes, but your whole
And
demeanor
what's going on?
changes. Like we're normally laughing and playing. Right now, we're not laughing and playing. You don't want to talk to anybody. I never said it. Yeah, but you showed it.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think people are not aware of that too, right? Like they don't have that information until we have the conversation and they're like, oh, I didn't realize. I didn't do that. Like it gets encoded in their brain in like, I'm trying my best. I'm doing my
But I
best.
feel like
And they don't realize
no, which
we
I
can
which,
see you.
yes, but I think that like, and I've talked to a lot of clients too. That just means that we have work to do on how to deal with you, which is
Mhm.
which is not a problem, because all of us
No.
have stuff,
Yeah.
but we got to figure out how you communicate that to your kid. There's nothing wrong with being, I mean, whatever your feelings are, but there's if you do like, it's okay to be sad. Communicate that to your child.
Mhm.
It's okay. Show them how we deal with stuff, but first you have to learn how to deal with stuff so that you can show them.
Yeah. But it's the thing, it's okay to have emotion, right? Like that is the hard and fast rule. And so if you don't like the feeling sad, that sucks. But that's also like work that you need to do for yourself because it's an emotion, it's
But
information.
like we said, if we're talking about masculinity, a lot of masculinity, which we blame in a lot of videos, goes back to slavery. That we say, because there are a lot of men who do feel like that is a sign of weakness, that will get them hurt, that will get them killed, all these things.
No, because
Which,
that was true.
yeah,
Good point.
and in some ways it still could be.
Yeah. No, and
Um,
no, I think it
so
still is.
so I
But
think
it
that there's,
stacks.
there's layers to that, and there's layers of how that trickles down and what that looks like. Um,
Can I add something to that? Because we were talking a little bit about shame and talking to people, but there's also some learning I think that we're missing when parents don't show up and like talk about their mistakes.
mm,
I think there's like this push sometimes, like when parents are not able to do their own work, they're like, well, don't do it that way, do it this way. And we're like, well, why? How did you do it? And they're like, it don't matter. Or it's a lie. Well, I waited until I was 36 before I started dating so and so, or like whatever. And there's this missed opportunity for somebody to learn from you because there's just shame around it because we're not talking about it because granny didn't talk about it, but she got knocked up at 16. And great granny didn't talk about it, but she got knocked up at 14. And then
but
I
then
got knocked up at 17. But like you should do it different.
But that's the hard part too. When sometimes those become family secrets that don't make sense. Like when someone's like, "Yeah, I was actually 20," and then like you over there adding the ages up, and you're like, "But if you was born in this year, weren't you?" Shut up, girl. Okay.
But you talking about a real situation that happened to me in my life. So
Okay, just kidding. Okay,
mhm.
I like we was happy in love, but you also said that that you guys were pregnant. Okay, never mind. I'm not, no questions.
Yeah, but again, but you're not being genuine. And I think people learn more. And then not even I think the people that I know who have learned to be different and show up differently are because they knew someone and someone told them the truth about what happened. Of just
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I got into drugs when I was young. Like this is the consequences. You get to make your own decisions, but I want you to know this is why I feel this way and this is why I'm
Yeah,
protective
yeah,
about this
yeah.
or all the things. Go ahead, read.
Parenting can be so hypocritical at times when we fail to tell the truth about our mistakes. 100%. I think that what you're saying too, Jasmine, I
Mhm.
think that it opens up a new layer. I do think that that is something that I will always cherish about my relationship with my mother, was because she was very, very candid
Mhm.
about all the stuff that she did
Yeah.
as a
And
teen.
sometimes that's hard,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of times it's valuable.
No, 100%. I mean, there were things I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
really?
maybe I don't need to know that.
But I do think that it was a level of like, it made me respect her more. It made me
Yes.
understand her more.
And understand her whys. Why she's saying no to something.
Yeah.
Because she has some kind of lived experience about this, not just, no, I don't want you to.
Yeah. So I think it's, but I think it's that, and like on that level of confusion. Like I have people in my family that I will still ask questions to this day, and they're still like, I don't remember. I'm like, okay, we're just still gonna pretend like this never happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And but also you gotta respect that. If that's how you want to do it, you want to do it that way.
I know, but how much more would you respect it if they said that's hard for me to talk about
Yeah.
versus, I don't know, you remember better than I did, right? That seems disingenuous. And like we always talk about attachment and all this stuff, you need to be congruent in order for that attachment to really work, which means like you're authentically saying this is what it is. That doesn't mean you tell everybody everything all the time about anything, right? Like there are some parents that give every single gory detail and this is what it felt like and this is what it did. I get that, but there's a way to be authentic.
Yeah.
And say that's really hard for me to talk about, that's really hard, or I haven't even thought about that in years and years. There's just a reason I haven't brought it up. I think that buys you more respect than lying, telling a story. Daddy went to space. He went to space and he's going to be out in 35 to life. Like stuff like that that really feels protective in the moment, but is actually in the long run not that healthy.
No, 100%. 100%. Um, how would you feel that grief impacts all of this?
Makes it complicated. I think it adds another layer. We already talked about like all the layers that we're dealing with. I think grief can make it hard for multiple reasons. Like your parents' grief, because parents have their own grief, and you can tell like I feel like that always just kind of shows up in the room. Your parents' grief or relationships with their stuff is always like they're floating around, even if you can't name it or place it. It always comes up of just like, well, I used to do this with my father, or an absence of that of just like you never talk about grandpa, or you never talk about whatever.
And we see this in the relation to the movie. In the movie, so like we said in the movie, the father who raised him, he passes at the very beginning of the movie, y'all. The credits wasn't even up, and this man then died in a horrific way that everybody's seen. He was publicly murdered.
It's not funny, but it was kind of crazy.
It was weird. He was publicly murdered in front of everybody, and then we have all of his friends who are grieving. You have his wife who is grieving, and then you have the son who was also grieving, and that's a hard thing too. When you're
two other kids, right? Yeah.
Yes. Or
no, sister and brother.
But it is hard. It's also probably like the main characters that we see, whatever. But like it is hard when you have think about multiple the little people grieving and all grieving differently. So now all of our grief is like doing this.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm grieving and this way because I want to be out here. You're grieving because you want to do this. You want to stay in the house now because I know now you're terrified of being out. Like, and now we're all just grieving and we're mad at each other.
Yes. And then suddenly and traumatically, right? It was all there. Half of us was there when it happened. We all saw it happen, felt out of control, and then now we have to somehow deal with each other dealing with this.
Yes.
And sometimes it feels like we're enemies dealing with this instead of a thing that we should do together.
Yeah. But I do think it's hard when everybody has their different feelings about it, or it feels like different feelings about it. And then like we said, and then you add on the multitude of having this big secret come out in the midst of our early grieving. So these three main people, the mom, the bio father, and the son, were all grieving differently. This secret pops out. Now we're definitely at each other's throats. It's that hard space of like when you're in family and with people and we're all grieving. I always think about, if you guys have not watched our soul food video, I think about them when you had these three sisters. Well, who I mean, we're all this like, you know, we're all sisters in the same household, but the grief showed up completely differently for all three of them.
Way different.
It impacted them all differently, and then you see how that even blew up to the fact that I don't even want to fool with y'all no more.
Yep. And it just was explosion, like we talk about in that. Grief complicates whatever's already there, like it amplifies. If there's already dysfunction, the grief is only going to like turn the dial up on the dysfunction. And I think that's what we was dealing with. You can always tell when there's a secret kept in a house.
Yeah.
It don't even matter if you know what the secret is or that is being kept. You can always tell. You can always feel it. And then we got all this stuff. So there's that. And then also talking about just parent grief. Losing a parent. Because he had, I don't know, it's like he lost his parent twice, kind of. Like his dad died, and then that's not your dad.
Hmm.
And so now, then, like, what do you do with that?
Not to mention, now I'm pissed off at my mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of lost all your support people kind of at once,
Hmm.
right? Like you can't talk to your mom about the thing because she's the one who hurt you. Can't talk to dad about the thing because he's gone.
Which could also lead to why he fell in love so fast. Shout out to Making Good, because listen.
We got some other things to talk about.
But
Continue
that's
on.
something that happens too sometimes when we're in those situations and we latch on to something
Hmm.
else to give us stability and understand that when you lose all those things and you're like, okay, so I need something else to anchor onto, and what am I going to anchor onto?
Yeah, I would love to be in that couples therapy, that premarital counseling session. I would love to be in there. And then afterwards, when he gets in the family, and him and Wood got a thing on relationship with her brother. Anyway, you gotta watch the movie.
Okay, let's discuss questions that needed answers in this movie, because y'all, I really did have questions that needed answers about where did the pregnancy, like how did this happen? Like, was she really just like messing with two best friends, and we like, yeah,
Yeah, that's
questions,
what happened.
yeah, questions that need the answers.
I couldn't even begin to tell you all the questions that need answers. I just, besides the fact that everybody was in this movie,
Yeah,
what did they just put Kid Rock in there just to put him in? What were we doing? What was the point? Okay, anyway, that's that
dog.
part. And then the other white boy who helped him run game on other people, he didn't even have a name. He didn't even have a name to be credited. Crazy, crazy work. And he was a big part of the movie, so strange.
I mean, so, but there was an element of that. He's trying to prove that he's this big name, that he's so great at what he's doing, but he's scamming people. Are you really that great if you got to scam people?
Yeah, I think you do have to be a little bit better to scam people.
Okay. Well,
the best ones are scammers. But
and am I the only
it's just
one?
like, is it a good use of your talent?
And am I the only one? I told Jasmine, I definitely pissed me off. I cannot watch this movie without getting irritated every time at the end of the movie, because I feel like he needed to be humbled. He should have lost.
Okay, so at the end of the movie, we got to talk about it, y'all, because I feel like it goes at the end of the movie. He's like, "Listen, I need you to stop wilding. I need you to give up running
His
games."
bio father was like, stop doing all this extra stuff. And then
Hmm.
he challenges his bio father and says, how about me and you race? And if I win, you leave and I become the king of Cali.
The president of the
Yeah,
club.
yes. And he was like, okay, but if I, the bio father says, okay, if I win, you calm down. And then
He said, "You give it up." Honestly, like you don't race, you don't scam anymore, you don't do any of this dangerous stuff.
but then so they race. The bio father is winning, and he intentionally pulls off of his release early to let his son win. And it grinds my gears, because why? He needed to be humbled. Let him lose.
I have no notes. Why? Why? I can't think of a good reason, honestly. I cannot think of a helpful reason why he would have thrown the match. I think it only would have been good. Like they could have come to a compromise. Like he didn't want to lose and like give up everything, but he could have won. Like the bio dad could have won, and they could have been like, "Let's come to an understanding. Let's figure this
Yeah, I
thing out."
wouldn't have did like a fool.
Why?
Like,
I'm just gonna stop being president, and you get everything you want.
yeah,
Why? He's reckless. He has no structure. He needs help and support. Can
yeah.
somebody get the boy a mentor? And you basically were just like, "Well, I'm hands off now. I'll just be your daddy."
Mm-mm. No, no, no. Yeah, I wouldn't have been like yelling at him like in your face, but I still be like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. But you lost though, so see you later.
I'd be like, you want a position? You want to be secretary? What you want to do? We can figure this out. But like, I don't. It just didn't make any sense to me. I had questions. I don't understand why it's happening.
Yeah. If anybody else has any thoughts on that, or like maybe that goes deeper into the father son relationship that I just didn't understand, but
Yeah, y'all, it's a lot going on here. It's like densely packed. So rewatch the movie. Tell us what y'all think. Tell us what we missed as far as like the dirty details of like the father son relationship, and as usual,
we're out here trying to be stay mentally dope.
we always trying to stay mentally dope. So take care of yourselves. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.